What's up, y'all? Um, it's another Monday, and we are back for the Mental Man Monday live stream. If I look over to the left, don't feel no way about that. I got another computer going with a module I'm letting play, so I'm just making sure it's still going on. How y'all feeling? It's the new year. Happy New Year to everybody. Um, so I made a post. Hold on, real quick. So I made a post on Instagram on my notes, and it says, "How does Big Bro and y'all the same age?" And this girl just said, "Maybe because other one got more money than him." Crazy. People's nuts. People crazy. But anyway, what's going on? So, it's a new year. We're 5 days in the new year. Can you believe that already? Podfest is next week. As y'all know, I went last year. I'm debating if I'm gonna record it this year, but I'm coming with a different angle this year too. I also have a vlog I need to finish that it should have been done. I'm gonna have that done, and I'm still all my trip vlogs I'm just sitting on. My DC for my 30th and then my Miami for my 31st. Just sitting in my phone. I need to upload them. I don't know, Lord, please give me. I'm gonna say it public. Give me the strength to finish these and upload them. And obviously they're gonna be throwback vlogs. I don't know if anyone's ever done that, but that's just what they're gonna be. Just some throwback vlogs, and yeah. But anyway, jumping right in. So we recapping first the episode social media and conspiracy theories. Featuring my boy John T. The episode was recorded not too long ago, but I really enjoyed that one because I had questions, but a lot of them were just kind of there. And then I just really, with this one, I really just went with the conversation. And as you saw, we talked about Nephilim. We talked about, people saying everything is the devil, especially older folks that say, oh, that's the devil, that's the devil, that's the devil. And the thing is, I believe in the episode, I'm saying again, a lot of times the older generation, when they said, oh, that's the devil, they weren't inherently wrong. It's just, they were from the generation where the adult is always right and you just listen to the adult and that's just it. And it's like, and I don't have to explain anything because I'm the adult. And it's like, you don't technically have to, but it's easier to get your point across if you do. Because then they can understand instead of you hearing, oh, that's the devil, and then that's the end of it. What didn't I like about this episode? I think there's a more topics we could have covered. We were getting kind of into politics a little bit, but that's segued into, which is going to be a great segue for this week's episode about social media and politics. And, I didn't plan to skip as many weeks because technically, on the original schedule, the last week was supposed to be last episode, supposed to be 6 episodes in it, but we had to skip weeks. Things been happening. I'm not gonna lie, I'm ready for the season to be over. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm just over it right now, and it happens. That's why I'm glad I do my podcast seasonally, so that when these breaks come, I can just take my break and be gone. Just being honest, but I'm thankful for the series and the season. But John T is great, Christian artist. He doesn't really, he's not really on social media like that, but eventually his stuff gonna blow. We're gonna speak it over him. And he gave some insight of being young and married. He gave some insight on how these things affect our mental health as far as like with social media and going down the rabbit hole. And I brought up that coined that phrase. Well, not coined it, but brought up the phrase and brought it to life of the rabbit hole and just getting on and just believe, it's checking everything. And how even a lot of people who claim to be Christians don't believe in conspiracy theories. They're like, I don't get into conspiracy theories, but I'm like, but a lot of them are real. And a lot of them are biblical, technically. So it's like when people say that, I just kind of like, really? I don't know. It looked like I had a missing side too. I don't have a missing side tooth. I just want to make that very clear. But yeah, so if you haven't checked out social media conspiracy theories, please check it out. What else I want to say about that episode? Funny, some moments here and there. Oh yeah, I made the joke when it was talking about when you get so deep in them conspiracy theories and those rabbit holes on TikTok, and they said now you think you saw Whitney Houston run across your room. So, yeah, that was nuts. But what I will say is we've seen the Jeff Epstein Island pictures revealed. It's so crazy because so many of them we won't ever see. It's a lot. And they keep trying to tie Donald Trump. You know what? Everybody hates Donald Trump. We know that. But it's like they keep trying to tie him to that as if he was a part of the ring with them people. And I'm not saying he did no crazy stuff. Like the thing with Donald Trump is, and I'm gonna keep saying this, I am not a supporter, but I'm sorry. It just, I hate to. Well, I don't hate to. Well, I don't know. I used to love Candace Owens, and I still like her, but she been kind of going down the path, But what I will say is, she made a great point. Everybody loved Donald Trump to become president. Now all of a sudden he's racist, and it's like, I mean, I guess I'm not a supporter. I didn't vote for him, but I just see a pattern here. That's all I'm saying. And I've never subscribed to groupthink. So there's that. But check it out if you haven't. It's on YouTube and on all podcast streaming platforms. Okay, yeah. Now I got to start getting the guests back for these because I need somebody to bounce off of, and you know how that goes. But whatever. Okay. So let's get into the first topic of the two topics that we have. So this one is actually just a picture. It's courtesy of the Shade Room, but it does come from, I want to stop using Shade Room stuff only because of I don't support what they do all the way, but it's just easy to get clips from them. So I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing it from the blog pages, but I'm gonna see. But let's get into the first one. It's just a picture, but it's something I really think that doesn't get enough credit, and I really wanted to use one of my topics today to talk about this. So it says that 1 year without alcohol. This is Keith Powers. I was a social drinker over time. I started depending on it in ways I didn't fully see. An early sign, it could become something more. Stepping away gave me clarity, peace, and a better relationship with myself. This is a life I'm committed to, alcohol-free, moving forward. All right. Now, speaking of alcohol-free, and we've had different people on the podcast talk about this, and I've taken breaks from alcohol and seen the difference. So first, let's get into, unpacking this, which is, what does this have to do with mental health? So here's the first thing about this. Study of how we act, think, and feel. He revealed that he's much more clarity and peace without drinking. And as someone who's taking breaks from alcohol, I've seen when you take a break and you get out of the I need a drink or I feel like I need a drink, you really realize you really don't. And this girl, I just saw her post, because I know a lot of people do dry January, and that's the only time they dry. But I'm gonna be doing. So right now, here's the thing. So I'm going to Podfest next week. When I went last year, I was during my phase of not drinking, so I didn't drink. But I'm going to start it officially when I get back from Podfest. I'm technically not really drinking right now. I'm not making it public, but it's kind of like, I'm not drinking right now. And I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest with y'all, because I want to be transparent as possible. So actually, y'all know I didn't do the devil's lettuce, but guess what? I was starting to dabble with the devil's lettuce again. And I did it a few times over some days, and then I got a word. I heard something at church yesterday, and I was like, and that turned me right back off it. So I'm glad that I didn't get back in the deep end of it, and I'm okay with. I had the little fun I had with it, but I'm back off it, and but being completely sober, actually, it'd be cool, and I'm excited to get back to that. Like I said, this one I'm going to do this year, only because I want to see it through without any excuses. I'm gonna do it when I get back from Podfest, and I'm just gonna do a 30-day one. And feel free to join. No porn, no weed, no marijuana, no alcohol, and some other challenges. So be prepared for that. But mental health wise, he made a choice, and he's seeing the results of that choice, and his mental health has benefited from it. A lot of times when people stop smoking, they never be like, stop drinking. I'm sorry. They never be like, oh my God, I should be still drinking. A lot of times they be like, it don't be that bad. And they take these long breaks. And sometimes when you take the breaks and you go back, it can get a little sticky. But, kudos to him, and I'm happy that he's staying off it. What would I do in this situation? I'm about to join him. I know one of these times, I don't know if it's going to be this time, but it's going to be one of the times I go on these cleanses and I never go back. I do know that. That I know. I don't know if it'll be this one. I've been playing Russian roulette, but one time it's gonna happen. So I challenge people all the time with the whole alcohol thing. Some people are gonna drink to the day they die. That's you. But I definitely encourage people to take healthy breaks because it's just good for your body. What would Jesus do? Jesus didn't drink. Now there are some people arguing Jesus was drinking wine, having a good time. It does not explicitly say that. So did Jesus drink wine? I don't believe so. And if he did, y'all got to understand the wine back then wasn't like the wine today. Granted, people could get drunk off of it, but it was still more so like a juice. And it took a lot of it to really get, toasted. So I think it's just a slippery slope when some people just confidently say Jesus was drinking wine. I don't believe that, so. And at the end of the day, it's the same thing I have to ask. What are you getting drunk and doing? Because you're not getting drunk just, and why are you doing it? You to make yourself feel like, you know what I'm saying? So there's a reason why you're doing it. Only you know. You might not know, but you need to unpack that. And finally, what should men do in this situation? Take breaks from alcohol. Again, you ain't got to do it permanently, but I definitely think that you'll notice a difference. And even me with 2, I want to see a new level in my body fitness wise. So I got to leave alcohol alone. All right. All right, y'all. So let's get to the final conversation today. One, I struggle with wanting to talk about this. I was going to talk about something else, but I'm going to talk about it because I just feel like I have a message with it, and I think it's a somewhat a warning a little bit. So, and it involves a man, so it only makes sense. So let's get into it real quick. Where's my share my screen so we can call okay.
Totally changed the way we operate. Feel like you can't move forward in life? Talk to Kevin on his side. And offsets his annoying behavior just a little bit.
Okay. So Celina Powell made a tape apparently with Offset. And he got caught by known influencer. We'll call her Celina Powell. She's known to mess with a lot of guys, and she owns her sexuality. And basically, she caught Offset lacking. And I want this to be a message because I wasn't going to talk about this, but I believe there's a message behind this. So, what does this have to do with mental health? First of all, the study of how we act, think, and feel. Here's the thing. Offset is not with Cardi B, so it's not like he cheating, right? But the issue is this is a message for men when you out here letting lust win. And we've all been there. I'm not shaming nobody. Trust me. Yeah, because it's still a struggle, right? But what happens is you got caught up. And even though it's with a woman and even though it's her, and you not in a relationship right now, so it's not like you cheating, it's still embarrassing. And it just goes to show you never can trust these people you really be linking with, because she recorded that. He didn't think she was going to do that. I mean, I think he's foolish for falling asleep at the scene of the crime, but it goes to show you what happens when you let your guard down. And it goes, they have it has it's I'm about to contradict myself just a little bit, because I'm gonna say, if you're gonna be doing something like that reckless, you need to always be on your P's and Q's. But then at the same time, it's like, why do you need to be doing stuff like that and be on your P's and Q's? You shouldn't be messing with nobody you got to be on your P's and Q's with. That's my opinion. But then it's like you can't really trust these people out here either. What's your take on that? Because a lot of time this will happen. Men get caught lacking. You know what I mean? What would I do in this? Well, my bad, we jumped ahead. What would I do in this situation? So in this situation, if I'm on camera and I got caught, at this point, I'm gonna just go ahead and say that either he could do two things. He could be silent about it, or he could turn this into a lesson. Now, he's probably gonna be silent. If it was me, I would turn it into a lesson and make it a public lesson. That's what I would do. But I mean, we two different people, so it's a little different. But that's what I would do. I'm not shaming him for it, but in the same breath, because it's just, it'd be different if she said she did it. I mean, my word against hers, but then the fact that she got you on camera, it's like, dang. And then, I mean, and it just goes to show you, let's win. And he probably didn't, I don't know, but I ain't gonna even put him on it. But a lot of people will talk about people like Celina Powell and then go link with her on the low. You know what I mean? They'll be, oh, she a hoe, she this, she that. And a lot of men do that. And I think that's women do it too, but that's really a man thing where they'll be trying to like clown something publicly, whether it's a big girl, whether it's a girl that's, 304, whatever. And then behind the scenes, they'll be trying to link with them. I don't know. What would Jesus do? So obviously Jesus wouldn't be in this predicament, right? But there's always a road of redemption. So I believe, I mean, everybody can come back from everything. And like I said, with celebrities and just things, stuff only lasts for like 2-3 weeks, maybe a month, then it goes away. We know he be out here, we know she be out here, but he just needs to know that there's redemption for this, and it's worse things he could have did. I ain't gonna lie. There's worse things he could have did. Now let's get to this segment because I think this is the best and the one I really want to go in on. So what should men do in this situation? So in a situation where you were doing some lustful and you got caught, because the thing is with how good God is, and it can really tie back to the last, God always gives us many chances. And he always gives you warnings. I've said this on this live stream before. He'll give you several personal warnings, and then he's going to send somebody to warn you. And still multiple times. And then you get caught. So even with him, what's to say his daddy, his uncles, or his bandmates, or some other celebrities wasn't like, hey, bro, chill out here, chill. You need to chill, you need to chill. Somebody told him to chill. He just ain't listen. So a lot of times, pay attention to the warnings, because God will let you get away with stuff for a long time. And then after a while, like, okay, I'm gonna let you get exposed and you're gonna get embarrassed. And then that's gonna push you to change. But he tried to warn you before it got there. And like I said, I'm not absolved. I didn't been warned about stuff before, and I ain't listening. Something bad happened. I try not to get to that point no more. I haven't gotten to the point where I had to fall victim to not listen to the warning, but I probably don't have to. I'm not above falling, but still. All right, y'all. So thank y'all for tuning in today. This week's episode, Social Media and Politics. I planned this. I want to start an argument with this. My boy Amir is going to be on here. Amrock. He's been on the podcast before season 6. He's been on a live stream some weeks ago, months ago now, and that episode went crazy. And that guy, he brings something to the podcast. His audio episode still gets streams to this day. So yeah. Make sure y'all tap into that. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And always remember, I love us.